I want to start this speech by asking a simple question. Doesn't each and every person have the right to enjoy a quesadilla in peace? Now, I have a condition called cerebral palsy. It slows my muscle skills and does a lot of other fun stuff. In elementary school, you could see my disability a lot more than you can now. I would go to physical, speech, and occupational therapy. Physical therapy was, of course, the best because they had the yoga ball, and it's awesome. And each of these therapies would have expectations for me to meet. And after I would meet them, I wouldn't have to go to therapy anymore. So in 5th grade, I passed speech, and the other two, I passed in 9th grade. So medically, I guess I was normal, except for the whole cerebral palsy thing. Though in society, I was still getting bullied. Bullied for having a bobblehead when I ran. Bullied for talking with saliva coming out of my mouth sometimes. And I did try the idea of going up to each individual and asking them not to, and some of them would listen, I give them credit, but others wouldn't, and there would always be someone else. So instead, I decided to attack the problem at its source, me and my cerebral palsy. So I joined cross country. I did speaking contests. The things I was worst at, I tried to do. And by sophomore or junior year, I wasn't really getting bullied. Whether it was because all my work has been paying off, or simply people got used to the way I was. I mean, it's a relatively okay-sized high school. Could happen. Either way, I'm fine. Not getting bullied, all good. Senior year, kept doing the same thing, cross-country and speaking. And we got to a meeting right before graduation with all my therapists, my parents, and the vice principal. Each one of the therapists listed off each of the expectations I met. And no biggie, I met a lot of them. But there were 2 I failed. One was I wrote like a 2nd grader, and I typed at 35 words per minute. And the optimal baseline level to type for going into college is 40 words per minute. Now, how did they get that number? Well, they knew that the meaning of life in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is 42. But they had some inherent hatred towards the only even prime number, so that's how they got 40. No, I have no idea how they got 40. But either way, I failed both of those expectations. And in college, there are things called accommodations to accommodate for that kind of stuff. Makes sense. I would get scribes, get whatever I needed, but no one would take the test for me. Sadly, I'm still working on that. Let me ask you, are there social accommodations as well? A month after graduating, I found myself speaking to an audience of senior citizens, about 30 or 40, the size of this audience right here, give or take some. I talked about how I overcame cerebral palsy. I wasn't being bullied. I got into the best public university in the world. No, the best university in the world. Go Bears! And I was feeling pretty good about myself. So, after I was done speaking, a woman looked at me from the back of the audience and said, "I have cerebral palsy too." I, Joshua Toch, was so excited to finally meet someone who has cerebral palsy, who can tell me what to expect in the next 70, 80 years to come, who can tell me that it's going to be okay. And what she said was, the bullying never stops. It never ends. I thought about, what does she mean? It did end for me. Am I missing something? Is college going to be just more bullies? I went I went to college with a very open mind, not knowing anything to what would happen. And luckily, I did not find any bullies. But what I did find was the dining halls, because you go to the food all the time. And I went over to the dining hall. It's called Late Night because it's late at night. It's a really catchy name. So I went up to order my quesadilla with my guacamole, right? And the cashier looked at me really strange. And it was a very awkward interchange. I got my quesadilla, I sat down, and she called over a police officer. And they both started staring at me. And I chugged my quesadilla down, or scarfed it down, or I ate it fast. And I went home. I was like, what did I do? Was I too aggressive? Was my fly down? What's going on here? And it wasn't until the next day I found out what happened. I went into the manager because I was so distraught over this and talked to her. She called over the cashier. And she's like, well, it was late at night. We heard your voice. And from your voice, you sounded drunk. I have cerebral palsy. I was not drunk. It was a Tuesday night. I had homework to get back to. Now, what does it say about the college society that when someone talks slow, we automatically assume that they are intoxicated? Not very highly of us. Now, let's go to a fraternity. I am in Pi Kappa Phi. And we have this thing called exchanges, where a sorority and a fraternity mingle, and it's all good. So there were these girls in the corner, these young women in the corner, and I went over to them because, of course, they were very easy on the eyes. Walking over, I say, hi, my name is Josh. And one of them turned to the others and say, let's not talk to the drunk. And they walk 30 feet away and start talking again to each other. Yeah. Now, I don't care about the 4 sorority girls that I didn't talk to, or the worst quesadilla experience I've ever had. But what I do care about is if I'm ever in a job interview. And I know there's laws about you can't discriminate against disabled, but what if someone simply thinks I'm a normal guy who showed up drunk to an interview? I don't want that image on me. I want to have jobs based on who I am, not who people perceive me as. Why can't people be like my friend Troy? In elementary school, he knew I loved 2 things more than anything: Monopoly and hot sauce, and friends and family and all that bogus, but Monopoly and hot sauce. I could not open the packages. And who would be there to make fun of me? Troy, for putting hot sauce on everything. He'd never make fun of me for opening them every single day. And then in high school, during cross country, there's some sort of expectation that you can tie your shoes tight enough to run in a race. Well, I couldn't tie my shoes for races, so he would be the one to bend down and tie them for me. We realized that there might be a ledge to everything, and we have to get each other over the ledge to run up the grassy hill. He would always beat me in races. He never let me win. But he would give me the chance to race. And that's what I'm here today to talk about. You might think when you meet me that I'm drunk. But move past that and look at me for my character. I don't have to be best friends for life, BFFs, with everyone I meet. But I have to have the chance to show each and every one my character. And hopefully through this, we can show that elderly lady that on that hill we are all equals and we're all looked at based on who we are. And maybe one day, at the top of that hill, we can all be playing a great game of Monopoly. Thank you.